Hello people of the internet, this is Shaky Jake and I really need a catchphrase. I have decided to play through one of my favourite Star Wars games ever made in the form of Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic, developed by BioWare and published by LucasArts. This was the game that introduced me to role-playing games and was essentially my starting point into discovering how an RPG worked, and I'm pretty sure I still suck at RPGs, just to throw that out there. But I've decided to play through Knights of the Old Republic 1, and it's still a great game even now, and even though it's arguably not canon anymore since Disney bought the Star Wars intellectual property, Knights of the Old Republic is still a great game to me, and I still view it as one of the best Star Wars games ever made. And the sequel I love even more, and I probably will get around to playing the sequel, but not straight after I've done this one, because you know I've already played through one Star Wars game and this is going to be my second one on the channel, and I don't want to get stuck in a sort of position of, oh, it's the guy who plays Star Wars games. But anyway, so I first played Knights of the Old Republic 1 back when it was originally released in 2003, and we had it as a New Year's Eve present. Bit of a weird set of circumstances. I'm not going to go into too much detail why we had it on New Year's Eve, but I had the original PC release, physical copy. I've still got it in a drawer somewhere, and I played it non-stop. I was obsessed with it, and I was playing it years after its original release. That's how much I loved it. I played it through pretty much my entire remaining days of school, from middle school and high school. That's how much I loved it. And this is the Steam version of the game, which isn't different particularly, but it's just convenient more than anything to have it on Steam. So I will explain a few things. I have downloaded a couple of mods for this Let's Play, the most important one being the Knights of the Old Republic 1 Restored Content mod, which isn't quite as vast as the Knights of the Old Republic 2 The Sith Lords Restored Content mod, because anyone who knows the history of the Knights of the Old Republic games knows that the sequel was incredibly rushed because LucasArts forced Obsidian, who developed the sequel, to release it for the Christmas holidays and get it out so that LucasArts could profit, basically. The original game doesn't really suffer from much cut content, and what content was cut, it wasn't really as important as it was in the sequel. I will discuss about cut content in the sequel if I ever get around to playing that game. But anyway, the most important difference with the restored content mod in the first game is it adds an extra difficulty level. So in the vanilla game, you have 3 difficulty settings. You have easy, you have normal, and you have difficult. But the restored content mod adds a 4th difficulty setting, impossible. I'm going to hate myself for this, but as I have never played the game on impossible difficulty before, that is the difficulty I'm going to select. And I was a bit nervous about selecting it, so I have downloaded a couple of other mods which you may say is going to cheapen the experience and it's going to make it so that I'm making it slightly easier for myself. Yes, that's pretty much the reason why I've downloaded these other mods, and it's such things as being able to have more force powers upon levelling up, it's having more feats upon levelling up. That's just to make my life slightly easier and make it somewhat bearable. I'm sure it is possible without those mods, but I just, you know, I've played this game enough times to know that even without the impossible difficulty, I don't think the developers gave you enough feats upon levelling up, which I don't think was the case with the sequel as much. I just think the first game it was a little bit brutal. So anyway, impossible difficulty, I'm going to try and avoid changing the difficulty setting if I can throughout the game. And the resolution for this isn't at my monitor size, because I did try downloading something to make it match my monitors and it was inconsistent. Half the time it worked, the other half it didn't. Actually, not even half. About a quarter of the time it worked, or not even that. an 8 for the time it worked, and then the other 7/8 didn't work. But anyway, I've rambled enough, so let's get into it. New game. So we have 3 classes to choose from and 2 genders. So you can be male or female, and you've got 3 classes. So we've got, let's look at it from the female perspective. The descriptions are the same for both genders. So you've got a female soldier who is a battle-ready fighter with no equal in combat. You've got a scout who is an explorer most at home on the fringes of space. And you've got a scoundrel who is a skillful rogue that gets by on stealth and some word I can't pronounce apparently at 11:30 at night. Oh, that's terrible. Guile? I think it's Guile. Or Gil? No, I'd say Guile. Anyway, this was another mod I downloaded, by the way. You know, improving the personal character clothes upon the beginning of the game, because, for example, the soldier just looks ridiculous in the vanilla game. It still looks ridiculous now, but it doesn't look as bad. But anyway, I always go for the scout simply because they're the most balanced class to me, and I also think they're the most interesting backstory-wise. But anyway, so we're going to go for the scout, and I'm going to be male because I've tried playing through the first game as a female, and it just doesn't feel right to me. The story doesn't feel as naturally written for a female character as it does for a male. In the sequel, I can go either way. I can go male or female, but in the first game, usually 90% of the time it's male. So the difference between quick character and custom character is quick character you just have less options, so let's not do that. Custom character, right, portrait. So these are all the heads you can select from, and you don't have much in the way of customization. You just pick a head and that's pretty much the appearance of your character. And I'll show you the head I first used when I first played this. This was the head I used when I first played the game, simply because it was the one that looked the most like me. But nowadays I always go for this head. And I downloaded another mod which gives this particular head facial hair. Because for some reason, the first Knights of the Old Republic game doesn't actually allow you to have a male character with facial hair, particularly. And I wanted facial hair. So this character now has a beard, which looks pretty damn awesome. So let's select him. Attributes, you've got strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. All of these things affect the game in different ways. So at the moment, because all of the starting points are on 8, we've got a -1 modifier, which you don't want particularly. If we look at the recommended recommended attribute distribution for the scout, you've got +1 modifier for strength, you've got +3 modifier for dexterity, +1 for constitution, etc, etc. Let's cancel that. I'm going to briefly give you an overview of what these attributes do. So strength is physical power, so essentially how often do you hit with melee weapons and how good are you with melee weapons. Dexterity is about agility and reflexes, so it also affects how you work with ranged weapons, and it also later on impacts your use with lightsabers as well. And it also makes them harder to hit. Constitution is how much health you have and how many health points you have. So yeah, and also can you withstand being hit. It's essentially endurance. Intelligence allows you to have more skill points upon leveling up. So if I leave it at 8, you're not going to get many when you level up. If I had it on the highest, +18, you'd have a bazillion skill points to select from. Wisdom, that is essentially the Jedi side of things. So you'll want a high wisdom if you select the Jedi class that focuses on the Force. And charisma represents essentially speech checks and being able to, also as it says here, it does influence the modifiers to the Force related feats and powers. So the biggest problem I have normally with the attribute system, because I never understood this when I first played it, and to an extent I still don't get it, but I understand it more than I did 14 years ago when I first played it. So strength and dexterity, both of these are quite important. And I think I remember reading somewhere you don't want these to be the same point allocation. However, I do want strength to be quite high because I am planning to use melee weapons. So let's put that on 14. And we've got a +2 modifier there. Dexterity 16, maybe, like they recommended. Constitution 10, so we're going to be pretty fragile, but that's fine, I guess. Maybe not if I'm on impossible difficulty. Intelligence I want to have here, because I do want to get a good amount of skill points. Wisdom 14. Okay, so that does leave charisma there. Right. Oh, you also don't want to have attributes on even numbers, because if you pay attention, so let's just reduce these down. At 10 you've got, you know, no modifiers whatsoever. On 12 you've got +1, and then 14 you've got +2. But if you have it on 13 or if you have it on 15, it doesn't do anything. One thing I am curious about. Am I curious enough about it? No, I'm not. Let's ignore it. I was going to see how many skill points you had if I had intelligence on, you know, 18. But we're not going to do that. So let's put everything to 10 for a moment, because I want to work out how I'm going to distribute these points. Okay. So intelligence I want at 14 for definite. Constitution can stay at 10. Wisdom can be 12, because I'm not going to need wisdom initially for the beginning of the game. Charisma can stay at 10. And you two can go here. Let's see. Strength at 16. Switch that round, maybe. Oh, this is difficult. Let's put strength at 16. I don't usually go with high strength on Knights of the Old Republic, so let's try it for a change. Strength at 16, dexterity at 14, constitution at 10, intelligence at 14, wisdom at 12, charisma at 10. Right, that will do. Skills. I'm sure someone in the comment section will say, oh, that's really bad, that's a terrible character build. Well, I don't care. So the skills are linked to the different attributes. So as you can see, some are related to intelligence, some are related to dexterity, wisdom, etc, etc. Now, the recommended from BioWare's perspective is this, and essentially they've recommended you for the scout class to just focus on the class skills. Any of the cross-class skills where you need to put 2 points in to get 1 point, they haven't bothered with. Let's cancel that. So I'm going to focus on having computer use at 4, demolitions at 4. So computer use affects how good you are with computers and whether you need more or less computer spikes to hack into things and make changes to the game world. Demolitions, if you have this on 0, you can't do anything with mines whatsoever. However, if you have a point, at least you can disable or recover mines. And if you recover mines, it normally gives you more experience and you get an extra mine to carry about. But we'll set that at 4. Stealth, I see no purpose to ever upgrade stealth in Knights of the Old Republic, or its sequel for that matter. Although in the sequel it does seem a bit more of a valid gameplay choice. In the first game I don't bother, so I'm going to leave that at 0. Awareness is whether you can spot characters hidden in stealth or whether you can spot mines. We'll put that at 2. Persuade, your speech checks. So because this will cost us 2, 1 skill point is going to take us down by 2 points. So let's put that up to 2. Repair 4, because this is very important. And I will explain why repair is important later on. But yeah, persuade is your speech checks. Repair It's not amazingly useful in game apart from using how many computer parts you use, but it's really good for one of your party members when you talk to them later in the game, and I think I need to have around 17 repair points by the end of the game. So repair 4, get a good start on that. Security, you don't really need it in Knights of the Old Republic 1 particularly, because if you bash things there's no penalties for it like there is in the sequel, but I am going to put a point in it just so I can, you know, open doors, or at least attempt to open doors. Now, treat injury, I do want some points in, so I'm going to take... Oh, I'm trying to think this through. You know what? No, having it at 2 there and put treat injury at 4. Yep, that's reasonable to me. So let's press OK. Feats. So you get a couple of starting feats, and these differ depending on what class you pick. One thing I do like about the scout is you get the implants for free if you focus on leveling up scouts up to level 8. But anyway, so let's press OK. Now, one of the mods I've downloaded does allow me to pick more feats upon leveling up from the start of the game. So instead of having just 1 feat to pick, I have 4. So I'm going to look at my feats. Toughness is one I definitely want because it allows for 1 extra vitality point upon leveling up, so we'll pick that. We'll add the +1 attack bonus with melee weapons because we are going to be using that for a considerable amount of time before we become a Jedi, so yes. I don't believe that affects lightsabers, but if it does, even better. And let's see. Okay. The conditioning one, this feat provides a 1+ bonus to all saving throws reflecting the character's excellent physical conditioning. We'll go with that. And I'll also go with critical strike simply because I love me a bit of critical strike. It was the attack I always used whenever I played this game. At some point you'll also want to decide whether to focus on 2 weapon fighting or 1 weapon fighting, which is dueling. I'm going to be doing 2 weapon fighting later in the game, but for now I'm not going to pick either. And my name, you can randomise the name, and sometimes you do get some Star Wars names like Luke, you get Lando, Leia if you're female, etc. I'm going to delete these terrible names because I've come up with my own equally terrible name, and that is this. There you go. Red Varnath. That is going to be the character we play as in Knights of the Old Republic 1. Let's call it a code name, why not? So, Red Varnath. He's going to be our guy. And, wow, his health is really low. But anyway, let's begin.
We've been ambushed by a Sith battle fleet. The Endar Spire is under attack. Hurry up, we don't have much time.
Oh, who are you?
I'm Trask Ulgo, ensign with the Republic fleet. I'm your bunkmate here on the Endar Spire. We work opposite shifts. I guess that's why you haven't seen me before. Now hurry up. We have to find Bastila. We have to make sure she makes it off the ship alive.
Oh, forget it. I'm looking after my own skin.
You swore an oath to protect Bastila when you signed up with this mission, just like everyone else in the crew. Now it's time to make good on that oath. I know she may not have an official rank in the fleet, but she's the one in charge of this mission, and it's our duty to protect her. I heard what everyone's saying about you. You've explored the farthest reaches of the galaxy. You visited planets I've never even heard of. People with your skills and abilities are hard to find. It's no wonder the Republic recruited you for this mission. But now's the time to prove yourself. I know you're a scout and not a soldier, but Bastila needs all troops at her side during this attack.
Oath or no oath, I'm heading to the escape pods.
Don't be stupid. You won't stand a chance against the Sith by yourself. We gotta stick together if you want to make it out of this alive. So hurry up and grab your gear. You need to suit up so we can get out of here.
Okay. Right, so first things first, I am going to attempt to roleplay this because I've never done it before and I want to see if I can actually do it. So I will be responding to the dialogue as if I was there. And the way I envision my character is he's a little bit selfish to start off with and he'll, mellow out over time. Right, so let's go to the footlocker, open that. And we've got our starting gear here. Let's get the items. We got experience points for opening a footlocker. How fun. So what we need to do is go in here, put our clothes on, get a short sword because I'm going to be focusing on melee, use the implant because we got that for free, which is nice and gives us a +1 constitution. There we go, we're all equipped. Let's talk to Trask.
Okay, let's move out. We should stick together. You'll have more success with a party than on your own.
I know all about RPGs. Okay, so Trask has joined the party. Let's press OK. And there he is. He's a level 3 soldier. I'm sure we'll find out more about him as the game progresses. I'm sure he has some ridiculously epic backstory that we're going to explore. Let's just carry on.
Because of the attack, this room is in lockdown. But don't worry, I've got the override codes. You'll have to use me to unlock the door.
Oh, that's pretty kinky, Trask. I've only just got up, but whatever. Okay, so let's switch to Trask, and for me, that's tab, but you can also click on the character. One thing that is restored in the restored content mod is Trask actually responds whenever you select him now. In the original game he doesn't, but in this he does, and it gets a bit irritating with Trask because the voice actor really hammed his lines.
What?
Like that. Anyway, so open the door.
Now that the door is open, you better take the lead again.
Okay, so we're now the party leader again, so let's move.
This is KotOR. The Sith are threatening to overrun our position. We can't hold out long against their firepower. All hands to the bridge!
That was Karth contacting us on our portable communicators. He's one of the Republic's best pilots. He's seen more combat than the rest of the Endar Spire's crew put together. If he says things are bad, you better believe it. We have to get to the bridge to help defend Bastila. There's a map of the Endar Spire and a copy of Karth's message in your electronic journal, just in case we get separated.
Let's move out. I'm skipping all the how to use dialogue because I know how to use it all. So the journal stuff is up here, and in our active quests, which is here, we've received a message from KotOR, and we've got to get to the bridge to find Bastila. All that good stuff. Completed quests, predictably, we have none. So let's close that and move on. What's this droid going to say? Look, the ship's being attacked, droid. I think you should, panic a little bit, but anyway. This little icon here means the door's locked and you have to use security to open it. So if we try it...
That door's locked, and I don't have the codes to open it. You'll have to use your security skill on it if we want to get past.
Okay, so as Trask just explained, we need to use security. Can we open it?
Got it.
Oh, we can. Good. Usually I have to use Trask to open it on most of my games.
These Sith must be the advanced boarding party for the Republic.
And this is our first introduction to combat, where we can select a range of different attacks. I usually go for critical strike, because I love critical strike. Oh, I actually got a hit in. How good.
I've got a feeling that won't be our last battle with the Sith. Good thing we have med packs to heal our wounds. It might be a good idea to use one now before our next battle.
Wait, did we get hurt? I don't remember that. Oh, Trask got hurt. Oh, Trask, you suck. I didn't get hurt, you did. You don't even deserve to be healed. Right. And from what I've noticed, you can't actually die on the Endar Spire whatsoever. So the game is quite lenient in that sense. So let's go through here, take on these guys. And the game automatically pauses every time we enter combat. You can turn that off, I never do personally.
For the Republic!
Oh wow, impossible difficulty has taken off a lot of my health, plus my low constitution. Let's pick up everything we can, because there's no such thing as weight limits in this game, thankfully. One thing that is a little bit annoying in the first game compared to the sequel is it doesn't tell you when you've picked stuff up. So in Knights of the Old Republic 2, the Sith Lords, it does tell you when things are empty. In this game it doesn't. But we've picked up everything and we've now got a cutscene. Oh, those Sith don't care if they, you know, kill their own men. But anyway, or women, their own soldiers. Pause the game a second. I'm going to throw a frag grenade as well, because that will be fun. And somehow that guy in the middle tanked it, but not anymore. As you can see, I'm really low on health, but I ain't going to die because this is the tutorial, so I don't have to worry about that. Okay, our relatively high strength means that I am getting most hits off, which is good. But at the same time, my slightly lower than normal dexterity means I'm going to get hit more. Let's pick up the remains. Right, that's everything we can get. Let's go through this door and watch another cutscene.
It's a Dark Jedi! This fight is too much for us. We better stay back. All we do is get in the way.
I always found this cutscene really cheesy. Although this fight was quite epic to me when I was a kid growing up.
That was one of the Jedi accompanying Bastila. Damn, they could have used her help.
Oh, what a shame I just happened to stand in a conveniently placed explosion after I won the most epic lightsaber fight ever. Oh well. So, let's just attack them. Right, there we go. Let's take you out. Beautiful. Okay, so let's pick up the remains. Definitely pick up what she has, because the vibration cell will be useful for weapon upgrades later. And this is our map in the top corner. If we click on that, it's already been uncovered essentially. Most maps you'll have to uncover as you explore each area. So let's go to the bridge. If you're focusing on ranged weapons, Trask normally tells you to get a sword out, but as we're focusing on swords, that's not a problem. And we've got our first...
Bastila's not here on the bridge. They must have retreated to the escape pods. We better head that way too. The Sith want Bastila alive, but once she's off the ship, there's nothing stopping them from blasting the Endar Spire into galactic dust.
Okay, so Trask has updated us on the situation. Let's pick up what we can, which is everything, because weight limits don't exist, thankfully. And I'm going to level up now, because if you try and go through this door here, Trask tells you you have to level up. So the game essentially forces you to level up here. So auto level up you don't want to do, because the game just automatically selects what it recommends, and I don't bother with that. So, God, Vitality's 9 compared to 36 for Trask. That's terrible. My God, I think I've made my life so much harder. Anyway, level up. So every so often you get a mix of different things. Sometimes, depending on what class you are, you don't always get skills and you don't always get feats. I'm more likely to not get feats upon leveling up, but we'll find out. So skills. Okay, so we got 4 skill points. If we had a slightly higher intelligence, we'd have about 6 to spend, or 5. I don't know, 5 or 6 to spend. So I want these 2 up. Persuade we can't upgrade anymore for some reason. And you know what? Actually, let's put 1 in security. And then we'll put the rest in... Oh, it's just... What's going to be more useful to me? Yeah, we'll put it in computer use. So, or do I want it in repair? No, I don't want it in repair. Right, let's just put it in computer use. Okay. Or do I? Demolitions. Demolitions should be... Yeah, demolitions. Okay. Feats. Oh, we got 3 to select from. Cool. Now, depending on how I level up my character, this might be the last time I ever see the level up screen for a while. It depends if I want more levels as a Jedi class or not. So I'm going to want the following. Okay, power attack. Gearhead, because that'll be useful. And do we want 2 weapon fighting this early? Yeah, why not? Let's go for 2 weapon fighting. Or do I? No, let's not. We'll go for Gearhead. Gearhead. Power attack. And... let's go for the heavy armor, simply because if I need to, I can equip it straight away without having to worry. So there we go, leveling up, and when we level up, that gets our full health back. We've got slightly more vitality now, which is good. So anyway, let's carry on. So Trask, I'm really looking forward to spending loads of quality time with you throughout this game. Be awesome.
There's something behind here.
I'm sure there is, Trask.
Damn, another Dark Jedi. I'll try to hold him off. You get to the escape pods. Go!
Trask, I thought we were going to spend the entire game together. What's going on? No, don't get separated. Oh, whatever. Okay. So that's the last time we're ever going to see Trask. I think he's pretty much dead at this point. And if we try and follow him, the door's locked. Yeah, he's bought me time to escape. So let's go.
This is KotOR Nassi on your personal communicator. I'm tracking your position through the Endar Spire's life support systems. Bastila's escape pod is away. You're the last surviving crew member on the Endar Spire. Now, I can't wait for you much longer. You have to get to the escape pods.
Now, normally, if you had a stealth point, this is where the game would introduce you to the stealth mechanic, but as we don't have stealth, I'm just going to go in there and kill him. Oh, come on. How did that miss? That's better. Oh, I've been killed. I thought I couldn't get killed on the Endar Spire. Crap. Thankfully, I have autosave on. Alright, so I've learned something. Apparently I can die now. Okay. Yeah, I can definitely get killed now. Please don't die. Oh my god, really? One thing I do find interesting is, for some reason, the overlay for Calf doesn't work properly. I don't know if that's a restored content mod thing or what, but yeah, for some reason it doesn't work. Now let me just check my starting stats. Let's see actually if a blaster pistol will be useful here. Shooting the floor doesn't really help our position. Why are you shooting the floor, Red? Fortunately, the Sith are also shooting the floor. Okay, I've learnt my lesson. This game is going to be brutal on impossible difficulty. So I'm going to throw a frag grenade and just get this out of the way. And that still didn't kill them. How did that not kill them? Please die. Thank you. That's what you get for killing me on the first go. I can't believe that. Okay, let's see. Maybe stealth would have been actually quite good here. Okay, there's two of you. That isn't great. Flurry. Ooh, that's a good hit. Right, run. I'm going to be using this tactic quite a lot, I think. Right, let's go in for the kill. Thank you. Thankfully, the other one hasn't followed me. Disengage. And let's go to you. Oh man, that's a lot of health taken off.
There's a whole squad of Sith troopers on the other side of that door. You need to find some way to thin their numbers. You could reprogram the damaged assault droid to help you, if you have enough repair parts. Or you could use computer spikes to slice into the terminal and use the Endar Spire's security systems against the Sith.
It doesn't really matter what choice you do here, simply because they both have the same result. I'm going to show you the slightly cooler option though, simply because I don't like the droid one as much. I usually prefer using the PC. So here's our Sith, and yeah, none of the blue overlays are working apparently. I don't know if that's a restored content mod change or if that's my installation on Steam. I don't know, but anyway, let's overload the power conduit and watch the sparks. Beautiful. Okay, so that's them sorted out. We didn't have to fight them. And even if you play this on easy, I don't think you can take them out. So, let's go through the door, get the remains, med pack, prototype vibroblade. That will actually be useful, I believe. Yes, much better weapon. Yeah, okay. So let's go in and speak to Calf.
You've made it just in time. There's only one active escape pod left. Come on, we can hide out on the planet below.
How do I know I can trust you?
I'm a soldier with the Republic, like you. We're the last two crew members left in the Endar Spire. Bastila's escape pod's already gone, so there's no reason for us to stick around here and get shot by the Sith. Now, come on. There'll be time for questions later.
I agree. Let's get out of here. So that's the tutorial pretty much done. And let's just use the escape pod. This is going to be the next bit of restored content. This next line of dialogue from Calf is restored for the mod, and it's the only bit I've experienced apart from a few other subtle changes. So anyway, let's carry on.
Whoa, hold on. Don't try and get up yet. You were smashed up pretty bad when we crash landed here on Terrace. Don't worry, we should be safe here in this apartment. I gave you something to help you sleep. Just get some rest and let the KotOR packs do their job. Good to see you up instead of thrashing about in your sleep. You must have been having one hell of a nightmare. I was wondering if you were ever going to wake up. I'm Karth, one of the Republic soldiers from the Endar Spire. I was with you in the escape pod. Do you remember?
Oh, feel like I've had a space hangover. Oh, Calf, the one on the communicator. I remember.
You've been slipping in and out of consciousness for a couple of days now, so I imagine you're pretty confused about things. Try not to worry. We're safe. At least for the moment. We're in an abandoned apartment on the planet of Terrace. We were banged up pretty bad when our escape pod crashed, but luckily I wasn't seriously hurt. I was able to drag you away from our crash site and all the confusion, and I stumbled into this abandoned apartment. By the time the Sith arrived on the scene, we were long gone.
I guess I owe you my life. Thanks.
You don't have to thank me. I've never abandoned anyone on a mission, and I'm not about to start now. Besides, I'm gonna need your help. Terrace is under Sith control. Their fleet is orbiting the planet, they've declared martial law, and they've imposed a planet-wide quarantine. But I've been in worse spots. I saw on your service records that you understand a remarkable number of alien languages. That's pretty rare in a raw recruit. But it should come in handy while we're stranded on a foreign world. There is no way the Republic will be able to get anyone through the Sith blockade to help us. If we're gonna find Bastila and get off this planet, we can't rely on anybody but ourselves.
Bastila, she's the one from the Endar Spire, right?
That smack to your head did more damage than I thought. Bastila's a Jedi. She was with the strike team that killed Darth Revan, Malak's Sith Master. Bastila's the key to the whole Republic war effort. The Sith must have found out that she was on the Endar Spire and set an ambush for us in this system. I believe Bastila was on one of the escape pods that crashed down here in Terrace. For the sake of the Republic war effort, we have to try and find her.
If Bastila's a Jedi, she can probably look after herself.
Bastila's gonna need our help. Many of Darth Malak's followers have mastered the dark side of the Force, and the Sith have already killed more than their share of Jedi in this war. I doubt anyone's specifically looking for us anymore. We're not that important. But if we're careful, we can move about the planet without attracting notice, a luxury Bastila won't have. She's gonna have half the Sith fleet looking for her. They know how vital she is to the war effort. And Bastila's no ordinary Jedi. She has a rare gift the Jedi call battle meditation. Bastila's power can influence entire armies.
Huh. If Bastila's so great, how come the Sith managed to blow up the Endar Spire?
Through the Force, Bastila can inspire her allies with confidence and make her enemies lose their will to fight. And often that's all it takes to tip the balance in a battle. But there are limits to what she can do. From what I understand of her ability, it requires great concentration and focus to maintain her battle meditation. The attack on the Endar Spire happened so fast, she probably never even had a chance to use her power. I'm guessing she barely got out alive, and now she's trapped here just as we are. The whole planet is under quarantine. No ships can land or take off. So if Bastila's gonna escape Terrace, she's gonna need our help, and we'll probably need hers.
What's in this for me if I help you out?
You mean besides a chance to get off this planet before the Sith find you? Do you have any idea what the Sith do to prisoners of war?
Okay, you made your point. I'll help you out.
Good. We're gonna need to work together if we're gonna survive. While you were out, I did some scouting around. There are reports of a couple of escape pods crashing down into the Undercity. It's probably a good place to start. But the Undercity's a dangerous place. We don't want to go there unprepared, and it won't do Bastila any good if we go and get ourselves killed.
So, if the Undercity's a dangerous place, why did you just say that was a good place to start, Calf? That doesn't make sense. How about we build up to it? But anyway, I want to ask you some questions.
I'll tell you whatever I can, though I don't know how much help it'll be.
What do you know about Malak and the Sith?
Everything I know about Malak is pretty much common knowledge. He escaped the trap that killed Darth Revan, his Sith master. With Revan's death, Malak became the new Dark Lord. It's obvious that Malak's a ruthless tyrant who'll crush anyone who stands in his way, just like Revan was. Experience has shown that the Sith won't stop until the Republic lies in ruins. Malak and his Sith don't respect anything except raw, brutal power. It's hard to imagine how someone who used to be a Jedi could become such a monster.
A Jedi? What do you mean?
Malak and Revan were once both part of the Jedi Order. but they were young and headstrong, and against the wishes of the Council, they went to battle the Mandalorians on the Outer Rim. Something happened out there. Something corrupted them and drew them over to the dark side. Or maybe there was something rotten inside them all along. I don't know. They formed an army of ex-Republic soldiers and Jedi who'd fallen to the dark side, with Revan at their head, until Revan was killed by Bastila's Jedi strike team. But even that didn't slow the Sith down. Malak just stepped in and assumed Revan's role. He took control of the Sith Armada and resumed the bloody conquest of the Outer Worlds.
Don't worry, we'll find a way to stop the Sith.
I hope you're right. But the Republic hasn't been able to stop them so far, even with the support of the Jedi Council. I think Bastila may be the galaxy's last hope.
What can you tell me about this planet, Robe?
Taris was once a magnificent planet-wide metropolis of towering skyscrapers, but that was a long time ago. The upper city where the rich citizens live is still pretty safe. If it wasn't for the Sith occupation and the planet-wide quarantine, it might not even be a bad place to live. But farther down, things have degenerated. The lower city is nothing but a slum overrun by swoop bike gangs, waging a never-ending war for control. And the undercity is... well, it's even worse. The lowest level of Taris is a wasteland overrun by rat ghouls, mindless, diseased mutants that attack on sight. I've already entered all this info into your datapad journal.
I'd like to know more about you, Carth.
I understand why you want to know more about me. I kind of get the feeling we'll be spending a lot of time together over the next while. But this isn't really the best time for long introductions. We should stay focused on the task at hand. There'll be a time for that later.
And funnily enough, that later is literally a second after this conversation is finished, if you really want to. Okay, the sooner we start looking for Bastila, the sooner we find her. Let's go.
Good idea. We can use this abandoned apartment as a base. We can probably get some equipment and supplies here in the upper city. Just remember to keep a low profile. I've heard some grim stories about the Dark Jedi interrogation techniques. They say the Force can do terrible things to a mind. It can wipe away your memories and destroy your very identity. But I figure if we don't do anything stupid, we should be okay. I mean, after all, they're looking for Bastila, not a couple of grunts like us. All right, soldier, let's move out.
And there we go. As you can see, Carth already has way more character development than Trask does. So Trask was never going to be our, companion for the game. He was never going to be a fundamental part of the storyline. I'm going to leave the part there for now because I feel it's been quite a long introduction to the game. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next part. Goodbye.